Hello everyone and welcome to day 5 of the daily podcast from Propulsion Swimming during the Paris 2024 Olympics. And Dan, I'm going to be honest, heading into today's day 5 conversations, I'm bouncing. I'm absolutely flying. It's been a tough start to the meet, albeit with some results in the pool that haven't quite gone the way of the Brits. But after last night's performances, both for the relay, for Dan Wiffen, combined with a shorter morning session today, I've got energy. I'm doing well. How about you?
I feel a little bit more upbeat, actually. Yeah. And again, not just the Brits and Wiffen getting his gold. The women's 100 backstroke, which is the first race we'll talk about, was an amazing race. And I feel a little bit more upbeat about things. And the British team have their first gold, which of course we'll allude to later. And then Ireland as well. So yeah, lots to go through. Big session actually as well.
Yes, so today's podcast we're going to go through day 4 finals, which include the 100 back, as Dan said, the men's 8 free and 4x2 freestyle relay. And then tonight's session, we are previewing day 5, which includes a whole host of finals. There's 5 of them and even more semi-finals, 3 on top of that. So lots of previewing to do. But first, let's discuss the races of last night. The women's 100 backstroke was touted as a massive head-to-head. Going into these games, Kaylee McKeown reignites her rivalry with Regan Smith, and yet again, the mentality monster that Kaylee McKeown is, you just can't beat her on the big stage right now.
Do you know what? She's one of those swimmers that you should never bet against. And I put Duncan in that same category. You know, in London trials, I said that Duncan would miss out on that top 2 spot, and Dino and Matt. And then I never will bet against him again. And I think I bet against Kaylee. Not bet against, predicted against
You were swayed
Kaylee.
as the meet went along.
Yeah, honestly. And I will never, ever, ever do it again. I think Kaylee is just a phenomenal swimmer. We rightly put her as the best swimmer on the planet right now.
Last year, definitely.
Which is subject to change with Marchand doing what he could potentially do later on. But she is a fantastic swimmer, and with the pool as it is, this is the last time I'm going to bring it up, but she swam an Olympic record and honestly, it was ridiculously quick. Regan Smith's turn was good, but actually Kaylee McKeown matched that turn, which just shows how good she really is.
57.33, the winning time, which is phenomenally fast.
Yeah.
I went into these games thinking after last Worlds, Regan looked a beaten swimmer after Kaylee got her. And yes, Regan did what she did at US trials, set the world record, and everyone thought, oh, you know what, she's in that form to get there. But just, there's something about certain swimmers, when they show up to a meet, they just won't be beaten. Phelps was like it in his era.
Yeah.
PT was like it for the past 10 or so years until these games. There's an aura about them on the pool side, and you just know it's coming. Do you know what? Right now, here and now, I'm picking her for the 2 IM as well.
Yeah, that's funny. I was going to bring that up as well. I actually think she has a brilliant chance. I know Summer McIntosh could be the one to spoil the party. Kate Douglas, we'll get to this, looks really good in the 200 backstroke later. It's going to be a good race, that one. But Kaylee McKeown in the backstroke just looks inevitable. Like, golds are coming her way. The 200 backstroke, I've always said, favours her more so. So I think she's going to win that one as well. But this 100 backstroke, going in, I actually literally flipped a coin, and it made me look silly because Kaylee McKeown actually won by 0.3, which is actually quite a bit of a distance.
Her final 25 was phenomenally
insane.
Fast.
Yeah.
Just swam away from Regan Smith, who's no slouch. And Catherine Burkhoff,
she had a good
other
meet.
sub-58 swimmer, for the first 50 metres, I thought she was really in this fight. And you think, actually, she's only 0.3 behind Regan as well. She is in this fight.
Yep.
Maybe you're talking, of this final. If you go off US trials, the United States of backstroke, their final to qualify was faster than this final at the Olympic Games.
Yeah, there's a bit of depth in that race.
There's a massive amount of depth. So America would have expected 2 on the podium for this for sure.
Yep.
They just don't get the gold. And Aussies, by the end of today... In fact, there's no more medals between Australia and America on this day. They're 4-2 up on the gold count, which for America to only be at 2 golds, we're going into day 5. I know people are calling out Brits unfairly, unjustified, that it's a disaster meet, but look, everyone's about right, or everyone's about the same level, really.
Yeah, honestly, I mean, going back
There's
the
golds
years,
everywhere.
like USA were guaranteed double-figure golds every time it was the Olympics. I actually think they're going to stay in the single figures this time round, which is a
gonna be close.
massive shock, I think. I was about to say upset, but I think it's going to be a
Single
shock.
figure golds, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, single figure golds, which then, the tussle between the top slots between Australia and America, I don't know.
I saw...
You look across all the countries, and I just think most people are doing good, but not outstanding. China are not having the best of meets. We've just spoke about America and Australia. Brits, I actually think we're doing quite well. We're actually 1 gold away from America, which is quite something, So we're doing all right. I think most countries are doing okay. I know
it's just a broader spread than it usually is.
Yeah.
I saw Phelps with his cowbell out this morning, trying to create a bit of momentum. That was interesting.
Something's got to be done, I guess.
got to be fun. Men's 800 meters freestyle final. Then the man, the one and only Dan Wiffen, with a phenomenal last 100 meters. Just when you thought Paltrineri was coming through, Paltrineri went early. He went with about 200 to go, and Wiffen just sat there and didn't kick. Let him get. I think it was like a 2 meter gap on him at one point in that final. Yeah. It was a full body length in that final 200, and Dan didn't panic. He literally, for the whole race, you spotted it from length 1 or length 2.
Yeah, after the turn. Yeah.
After the turn, he was just looking at Bobby Fink and Paltrineri because he's a smart kid. He knew where that race was going to come from. Didn't even care about what Winnington did for that race. And yeah, as Paltrineri went, didn't panic, and then the final 100 was rapid. And yes, Bobby Fink finished faster than him, but Dan Wiffen was pretty much matched him and held on quite comfortably in the end. The final 50 meters was something a sprinter would be proud of.
Oh yeah, we should probably talk about that. That was quite funny, I found. The plan he had going into that race was absolutely perfect. Like you said, he was only looking at one side of the pool, completely ignored Winnington, who did take it out like he did in the heats, ignored him completely. And the pacing was just like spot on. He ended up being an Olympic record, and that last 100, like it always is in these distance events right now, is where you have to kind of push on. He didn't panic when Paltrineri made his move. He was very much aware that Fink obviously comes back strong, just like everyone is now aware of.
Yep.
And on that last 50 meters, normally he's looking at that side. He breathes better, or his stronger side is the left side. He abandoned looking at that side and he just went for it. And the last, the last 20 meters, I went just swinging. He was swinging his arms. It was amazing. And actually, he got further ahead of Fink because of that.
Yeah.
Amazing. An amazing swim, and massive congratulations to him. And Swim Ireland are on the board.
Him and Andy Manley, his coach over at Loughborough. He's been coming through the ranks now for a little while. He's obviously a world champion in the 1500. Richly deserved. And I am really looking forward to the 1500 because the way he's swimming right now, world record. Just like, I know this pool isn't allowing world records. Like, we're trying not to bring it up, but it is just the talk of the Olympics, unfortunately.
Yeah.
The way he's swimming right now, he just, you can't bet against him.
Yeah, no, honestly, I was leaning towards Fink in a 15, and now I'm leaning towards Wiffen because he is looking strong. First athlete from Northern Ireland to an Olympic gold medal in 36 years.
First male gold in the pool.
Yeah, absolutely amazing swim, and he's just broken a bit of history, a bit of Irish history, and maybe he could go on and do it again in the 15. Looking forward to that now.
Yeah, Dan Wiffen could single-handedly take Ireland above the Brits in the gold medal table.
Yeah.
He genuinely could.
Probably,
But the Brits do get on the board. The men's 4x2 freestyle relay, it was comfortable without being easy. The Americans fully gave them a run for the money, but all rounds 145s does the job, and then Duncan brings home in a massive 143.9, which is ludicrously fast.
Yeah, especially when the rest of the field, I think there was only one other swimmer that went sub 145. Was it two? There were two other swimmers, which is just stands to show how good Duncan is on an anchor. Like, ever reliant relay swimmer, just as Jimmy Guy is at the first leg as well. 145.0, such a shame that he didn't go as 45. That's sub 45, sorry. Overall, I think it was comfortable, but you're right, we were tested, but the last 50 of all of our swimmers was incredible. So it's kind of like let the other team catch up, and then we were just ploughing away on the final 50, which is the safe bet, I suppose. That's the way you win gold, I guess.
I think they were all incredibly smart swims. They all held a little bit back, albeit Matt went out at a 50.5, I think, for the first 100, so he really did kind of kick on. But the rest of, like, he still had something left for that last 50.
Yeah.
But all of them watched the field in their first 100, comfortable, made sure they kept the lead, and then that final 50, they charged into the wall, perfect for a relay takeover. We did a reaction video for it.
Yep.
I don't think you can ask too much more. Sub 7 as well, which is very, very impressive. The first ever relay team to do back-to-back with the exact same team.
Yeah, very historic. That is like we've talked about the great American relays of the past, and they have never done that. There's always been like one change here and there. Maybe they've had 3 members the same and they changed one, but they've never had all 4 members of the same swimmers in the team. Have I just made that right? Have I said that right?
Yeah, I think you've got that.
Yeah, sorry. Amazing. Could they go it again? It's another 4 years is a long
4
time.
years.
I suppose Jimmy's the one in question here, whether he wants to go on for that long again.
Hey, look, he's getting faster and faster. He's hit his first
That's the
PB in
thing.
9 years. Like, would you? Like, his squad that he's in Millfield with under Ryan Livingston. I know Matt's with Ryan as well, so they've done a great job preparing these 2 swimmers for their games. They're going up to Manchester next year. They're forming a new performance centre there, and Jimmy's a Manchester boy. Like, maybe he keeps going.
Hey, who's to say?
If he's swimming like this fast, I don't want him to stop.
He's clearly enjoying it, which is the first and foremost thing. And if he's enjoying it, and if he can continue to enjoy it for another 4 years, I imagine Duncan will want to do it again 4 years' time. Tom Dean will do it again. Matt's definitely going to do it again. So this same team could do it again in 4 years' time. But we'll see. We'll see. There's always a lot of retirements after an Olympic
He is
game.
only
we'll
29.
Yeah.
Both me and you are older than him. He's only 29.
Let's not talk about that too much.
Let's talk about the other 2 swimmers as well, because Jack McMillan and Kieran Bird get their gold medals as part of this team. I think it was hugely important to rest Duncan so he could swim that 1:43.9, and Matt, because he had a very busy day. Matt's got the day off today. I saw photos with him and his family. A bit more relaxing. He deserves it after the start to the meet he's had. The pressure's kind of... I feel like there's a pressure release off this British team now.
A little bit.
With
I think
a gold under the belt.
Yeah, I think there's now going to be a little bit of a momentum charge towards maybe that sort of a momentum shift will go from the 4ths that we've had already. That might just be that little edge that we need to go into the bronze. And so it makes a massive difference when you win that win a medal that we're supposed to win. Like usually Adam wins his gold, and that just has a massive momentum effect on the rest of the team. And I suppose because I'm not solely blaming him for the reason why, but it does help when you win a gold, and it just gets a bit of the fire lit in your belly a little bit. So I think that was a good result for us, definitely.
Okay, so that is day 4 finals reviewed. On to day 5 then, where we have a very, very busy final session. So we'll rattle through eight events, which is weird considering how quiet this morning was.
Yeah, I know.
We kick things off. As always, we're going to go through finals first, and then we'll do semi-finals afterwards, even though it's not quite the running order of the session tonight, just because the finals are the more important preview.
Well, of course they are. Yeah, obviously.
Women's 100 meters freestyle. This is going to be a battle for the ages. Siobhan Haughey goes through as the fastest seed in a 52.64. She had incredible closing speed. 52.64 is not going to be the fastest time in the final. This is going to be super, super fast.
Yep.
So you've got Molly O'Callaghan through, Sarah Sjostrom through. You've got all the big names expected really to be through. I don't think there was any big misses. 2 Americans in this, 2 Aussies in this, Chinese, Hong Kong, Marit Steenbergen again. Dan, I'm struggling actually to preview this because there's so many names.
It's one of those races where the whole pool could end up being on a podium and the whole pool could end up winning. We've spoken about Marit Steenbergen quite a bit actually as a dark horse, and her closing speed was actually the same as what Haughey did. And I suppose because of that heat, Haughey won the heat and it looks more effective from her. But Steenbergen had the exact same split of 27-1.
I will say O'Callaghan closed in a 26-8.
Yeah, well, she's known for that,
her turn, she charged past Sophie.
Yeah, and again, that might just be the difference in this final because the turn and the speed she gets off it could be it. I don't know who... We've got to try and make a prediction here off the podium, which is going to be extremely tough. I said Molly at the start. I'm going to stick with Molly, but the other medals... I don't know. Who have you said Haughey all year.
All year, and then
you made a little change in the prediction video. Have you changed again?
No, I'm still on O'Callaghan from when we first went into this meet.
Yes, yeah.
Purely based on, well, now it's based on that turn and the back end speed. I think this is going to be down to the fast finishers. So I think it's going to go O'Callaghan, Jorge, Steenbergen, which I think might be quite a surprise podium.
Wow, I'm kind of half expecting Sostrom to make the podium. I don't know what position.
I tell you what, I've not had a good meet so far, so scrap that. Dan, over to you.
Actually, how did I do yesterday? Did I do okay? Got the backstroke kind of right.
You got the 1500. You got the 800 bang on.
Yeah, I got that absolutely nailed, didn't I? And then a 4x2. Yeah, okay, I'm doing all right, actually, aren't I? So I think Molly's going to win. She's an out-and-out racer, as they all are, but the closing speed is just second to none, and that's going to do it for her with the turn as well. I then think Jorge is going to win the silver.
And I'm kind of going. You're putting Sostrom on the bronze.
And then I'm going to put Sostrom on the bronze. So I'm actually kind of going the opposite of your theory here, because Jorge and Sostrom do go out a little bit stronger, which is interesting. But again, I could be completely wrong, because the Chinese swimmer Yang is just swimming really well as well. Steenbergen. So yeah, there's a number of swimmers here. But that's my podium. I think Molly, Jorge, and then Sarah Sostrom for bronze.
Oh, that was a really tough podium to call. Let us know in the comments below on the Propulsion Swimming Podcast YouTube channel if you've got a different one, because I think there will be a lot of them.
Oh yeah.
Men's 200 meters butterfly, then the two big guns do enough in the semi-finals and looked impressive doing enough. It's going to be a battle between Leon Marchand and Christophe Millac, which is going to be titanic in that La Défense arena. I can't imagine the noise, because it's going to be mental. Going to be an incredibly big head-to-head. I put Millac as slight favourite heading in. He's looked good, and a 152.7 is still nowhere near. It's PB plus 2.
Yeah, 2.3, 0.4. Yeah,
I don't think he'll get down to PB and world record pace.
No, I don't think so either. But I think he is definitely the one to beat. And actually, that 152.7 might take some beating as a time itself anyway. I believe both Millac and Marchand are going to go sub 153, and it is now a 2-horse race. Did you see the article or interview that Honda did, actually, where he said he very much froze under the pressure, or he got really nervous?
I'm kind of glad he was honest about that, to be fair, because his swim in the heats was nowhere near what he's capable of.
Yeah. So that was a bit of a... I've gone off on a tangent there, but I thought I'd bring that up. I think it's a 2-horse race, and then the fight for bronze. Wow. I mean,
it's all over.
Anyone.
All over the field.
Anyone. So trying to pick that bronze medal in our prediction is going to be tough. But I think Millac is going to be the favourite here. He's the one to beat. But that French crowd could really be the difference for Marchand, because he actually said he can hear them when he breathes, especially on the breaststroke. So it's going to be loud, really loud. So
just in my head, I can imagine Millac doing Millac things and taking this out like a madman. And he's not quite... We know some of his build-up because it's been in the press thanks to his coach kind of complaining publicly about it. I can imagine him taking it out too hard, and maybe the build-up's not quite been there for him to bring it back, and you've got a charge in Marchand with that crowd.
Well, I mean, you say that, and you look at Marchand in the heats and the semi-finals of both the 200 fly and the 200 breaststroke. He has actually taken the first 50 out purposely, I think, to get out of the waves of everyone.
Yeah,
so
it's smart.
It wouldn't surprise me if they both go for it at the start, and then it's just a war of attrition, I guess, on the final 50. That's kind of how I foresee it.
Yeah, it's actually, be a good one. in the semi-finals, it was Marchand who took it out faster in a 53.1, and Millac took it out in a 53.3. So you could just argue that Marchand's not got down to that sort of time that Millac is, because he
doesn't need to yet,
because he didn't need to. He can because he could just switch off in that semi-final.
Yeah. Oh, and he very much did.
He very much needed to with the 2 breaststroke later.
Yeah,
as well.
Exactly.
Yeah, monster one. I actually predicted Marchand heading in, didn't I?
You did, and there's no reason for him to not win this. I mean, I think it would be a relatively small upset if Millac weren't to win.
Yeah, he has looked decent going through the rounds so far.
I'll let you predict this one. I think the top 2 are kind of set-ish, but then the bronze, who are you going to go for bronze?
Ooh.
Pick him out of a hat here.
I'll go Karun.
Yeah, I was looking at him.
Partly because I believe he's trained at Arizona State with Marchand, and he was coached by Bob Bowman. So I kind of just think, well, he's done the same training as Marchand.
Helps, surely. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm kind of going for him. That's
Yeah,
my
I'm
third.
leaning towards him as well. I was looking at him and Ponty in the semi-final looked a little ragged on that last
His stroke
25,
was very
50.
up and down.
Yeah, and that's mainly the reason why I've just gone for Karun. So
Yep.
yeah, there's mine. So Milek, Michand, and Karun.
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if Marchand sneaks a gold either, though.
Oh no, yeah.
Women's 1500 meters freestyle final. This is where Marchand can get a little bit of a rest before his 200 meters breaststroke. There's some semi-finals thrown in here as well. So when we preview this and then go straight on to
we'll
the
get
2
to it.
breaststroke, that's not how fast a turnaround he's got.
Yeah.
Katie Ledecky, fastest into this. Not as far ahead as expected going into the final, but as a heat swim, she doesn't need to do anything other than turn up and swim.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
The battle behind her is quite fascinating because Quadrella is maybe the name behind Ledecky.
I would say from a European standpoint, yes, absolutely.
Yeah, I quite like the Australian Johnson because I think she's going in the open water as well. So she's going to have the endurance.
That's what I was leaning towards, funnily enough, as well. That's funny you should say that.
I think Quadrella gets... there's quite a distance, though, and there's a French swimmer in the third seed going in. So...
Yeah, I mean, there's not much to talk about here because I think Ledecky will win. I think the Quadrella will be second. And then, it's a bit of a toss-up for bronze again. And I went with a similar mindset to you where Johnson will get the bronze just because of that sort of open water background. So she'll always have that aerobic background, the aerobic capacity to get through to the end.
Katie Grimes has got the open water background. She's, I think, one of the favourites for the 10K when it gets going, if it gets going. And she missed this final, which is a surprise.
Yeah, but I think she was more focused on the 4 IM.
In the pool.
Yeah, I think so. That was the more guaranteed silver for her because she was definitely the second fastest going in. And I think the distance events is more fun for her, I guess. It's just another experience for a different type of swimming and racing, I guess.
So your prediction of the... Do we need to talk too much about Ledecky here? I think this is...
Not really.
She's not going to have too much of a battle in this one. I think the 800 might surprise people. I've
Yes,
heard lots of rumours that Titmus is really going after her.
Yeah. That would be a really interesting race. But
if she's ahead, she might just want to switch off and...
Yeah, well, it depends. Yeah, because Ledecky does what Ledecky does, and she takes out first 100, 200, and then she's in her pace, and then no one can catch her because she's already too far ahead. And that's exactly how this final will probably play out. Quadrella can be on pace throughout, but it's just not the same as Ledecky's, unfortunately. And then I'm going to go over Johnson bronze.
Okay, I'll go left field just because you've gone Johnson. I'll go the French swimmer who I'm not going to attempt her surname because that looks like it's got like Russian descendants or...
And you never know, the French crowd could really egg her on. And
that's kind of my logic behind it.
Okay.
Men's 200 metres breaststroke then. Marchand's second final of the night. Could he do the unthinkable? Double gold.
Well,
This is closer off the semi-final swims than I thought it would be. Some big names miss out. Chin misses out, which we expected after the heat swim. Matt Fallon missing out, I didn't expect after his American record at US trials. But another American does make it through instead, weirdly enough.
Yeah, I actually put Matt Fallon close to the podium, actually.
I did as well.
The fact that he's not made it into the final is a big turn up for the books for me. Chin, as expected, I think, because it's not happened for him this meet for whatever reason. We won't allude to it. I suppose the biggest talking point is, Marchand, and can he do the dirty double? But Zach Stubbsy-Cook, he has breezed through the heats and the semis.
Yeah, he raced it very differently in the semi-finals.
Yeah,
he didn't mess around like he did in the heats.
Now the final comes in, and you've got, I'm foreseeing Marchand go out strong, quite strong, much stronger than Zach Stubbsy-Cook, and can he bring it back home on the final 50 like he's done for the last good number of years now? It's going to be a very fascinating race.
If you're an Australian swimming fan for 150 metres, this isn't going to be fun for you. I can tell you now. I think he's going to be beyond the body length behind Marchand.
Probably, yes. But he will claw back.
He will.
But will he have enough pull to do it?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. It depends how much that fight takes Leon, or the fight with Milak takes out of Leon.
Yeah, I actually think I think Marchand has a better chance of winning this event than a 200 fly.
Yeah, I agree now. Now I've seen what has happened to Chin. Yeah, It's hard to look past Marchand in this crowd, and he's like you said, he
can hear it.
He hears it on the breaststroke, especially.
And we shouldn't disregard the 2 Japanese swimmers as well.
They were going to be in my fight for the podium and behind, but right now, no one's shown their hand. It took a 2:09.8 to make this final, which isn't fastest. So I think you're talking 2 6s, 2 7s on the podium. No one's been near that yet, so we'll find out if they get there.
Yeah. I know there's a lot of talk of Marchand going 2:04, but again, the pool's not allowing. So if he can go, I think 2:06 is probably good here. Maybe there'll be multiple swimmers in 2:06, but then, we shall see. We shall see. I think Watanabe is going to be the bronze medal here, if I'm going to pick a bronze.
And you reckon Leon ahead of Zach?
I do. I'm going that way. Yeah, okay. That's the way I'm going. Yeah.
I'll agree with that podium. Ooh. I'll agree with that podium from what we've seen so far.
But again, it wouldn't surprise me if Zach Cook does have enough pull to catch him up and just get him on the last stroke or two, last 5 meters. That wouldn't surprise me either. So it's a toss-up between those two, but I think Marchand gets this one silver in the 200 fly.
Men's 100 meters freestyle, another absolute belter of a race. I said, someone actually commented on one of our videos heading into these Olympics, which is the best session. I think day 5. I think this is the best final session that you're going to see, given the drama of the dirty double, given both 100 freestyles.
Yeah.
It's half wide open, but Pan Zhang Li looked really, really good from an outside lane. I thought the field were coming back on him in his semi-final in that 50 to 75 mark, and then 75 to the 100 he pulled away like a machine.
I wonder if his technique is suitable for this pool. So the swimmers are moaning about the turbulence and it's being quite choppy and wavy, and his stroke is actually quite flat. So I wonder if that's a benefit to him, whereas if you compare Popovic's technique is more up and down, Chalmers is more up and down, and Pan is much more flat on the surface, and I wonder if that's why he's pulling away on the last 15-20 meters. Now, he does that anyway, but I think it shows more in this pool. So for me, he's now the one to beat. He's the fastest going in lane 4. Can anyone catch him on those last couple of meters?
Like Kyle Chalmers. I like the way Kyle Chalmers has swam so far. So if I'm picking against Pan Zhang Li, I'm picking Kyle at this moment in time.
I agree.
It's not just the back end speed that he has clearly shown his whole career. At this meet, he is not turning dead last. He is right up there. Like in the semi-finals, he was right up there with Grosset, and Grosset is the 50 coming up to the 100.
Yeah,
I think the podium is made up of the 3 fastest that are heading into this, unless Popovic pulls something out of the bag.
This is such a difficult podium to predict.
I mean, heading in, I said Jack Alexi.
Heading in, I said Popovic. I don't know. Honestly, I don't know.
There is 8 swimmers in this final. I could give a medal to 6 of them. Maybe even more, because Chris Giuliano is capable of faster.
I actually think Nemeth is a huge, huge dark horse here. He is swimming really well. To the point where, if I give him the bronze, who am I dropping out of this?
You're dropping one of Pan Zhang Li, Kyle Chalmers, and David Popovic. If Popovic does the double as well, this will be historic. I think the last person to do the 100-200 double was... I think Van Hoogeband.
Yeah, that was Athens. No, it wasn't. It was Sydney, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
Wow, that would be incredible. We stand corrected there. We haven't done the research. That's
on the
memory.
Spot.
Yeah. Man, I can't drop any of these on the podium. Hopefully there's some joint times and then I don't have to struggle here.
What, like a 3-way tie for third?
Yeah. Right, we're going to have to make a prediction here. I think, I went for Popovic at the start. I'm now going Pan. I think Pan wins.
Ooh, okay.
I think Pan wins. After that.
Keep going. Come on. Nostradamus.
See, Alexi's going to go out hard, as is Nemeth, as is Grosset. Chalmers is going to come back, as is Popovic.
I think this pool favours the people coming back.
Man. Pan for the win. I think Chalmers will get the silver. I've said Nemeth is a dark horse, but I think he just misses bronze because Alexei will get the bronze.
Whoa.
Is that bold?
It's bold to leave Popovic off.
Wow. Who are you going for? This is such a...
I don't know.
This has to be the hardest podium to predict.
Yeah. Don't hold us to this. Don't do any sort of betting off this.
Oh, God, no. Don't do that.
If you're old enough to bet and listening to this, definitely don't do that. This is just a crapshoot. Just
It
pure.
seems that way.
This is vibes. I'm going Kyle Chalmers for the win, Pan Zhang Li for second, and Popovich for third. Pure vibes.
Yeah. I can't
Kyle's
disagree with
relay
any of it.
split. Kyle's
Yeah.
relay split is the one where he went 46.5. Like,
Yeah, that was
that's
strong.
bonkers.
That was strong. But Pan Zhang Li has gone 46.9 from a standing start. So
flat.
Yeah. So, yeah, honestly, it could go either way. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below because this podium could go any way.
Yeah, like, no, I tell you what, both our podiums won't come in. I'll tell you that now.
Oh, they won't do. No,
They won't come in whatsoever.
I'll be
I don't know why we
hugely
tried to
surprised if we get it right. Yeah.
Semi-final previews then for night 5. We've gone through what is a belter set of finals. There's 3 semi-finals. I would say all of the heats this morning fairly pedestrian because they were quite small fields. And we're going to start with the women's 2 butterfly, of which two of the 3 heats this morning weren't filled, which was really weird. So
I
times
actually
this
think there
morning.
were 3 heats that weren't filled. The 2 outside lanes in heat 2 and heat 3, and then there was 1 missing in the last heat as well.
Was it actually? So it
going off
wasn't
memory.
filled heats whatsoever.
No, I don't think so. Yeah.
Blimey. Zhang Yufei showed a little bit more than everyone else in the heats, but no one needed to show a thing. So heading into the semi-finals, I don't know if we know where anyone is.
No, I suppose the only question marks is really Laura Stevens, who looked all right for the first 100, and then, for me, looked like she tied up a little bit, which is not
I think she went out
ideal.
a bit too fast.
But again, it could be a really good gauge, really, because almost you swim the heats and you guaranteed a semi-final almost. So hopefully she can put it right. She's going in 14th, so she's got an outside lane. Kiana, from a British
I thought
from
she
a British
was
point of
very
view,
strong.
I think she looked really good. The comeback speed on the 100 that she did early on the first day, I think it was, looked great, and it looks good again here. Does she have the ability to go into a final? I believe she might do. I think she could final in this event.
I think so. We haven't seen looking at the names below her, like Capas, Laura Pudar,
Yep.
Lana Pudar, sorry, are all capable of getting into that top 8.
Mm-hmm.
I think Kiana might need to go a new Scottish record.
Possibly, yeah. I mean,
She might have
ideally,
to but she's
ideally
PB'd
2.7.
earlier on in the meet.
Yeah, ideally 2.7 is needed now.
Do you think 2.7 makes it? Yeah, because Summer swam a 2.7 this morning and just didn't look like
She
just didn't swim. She just let Zhang Yufei and the other swimmer,
Just
I think
let
it
them
was
go.
Abby Connor, just do
Yeah.
what they wanted to do in that heat.
Yeah.
And she was just like, cool.
I mean, the commentator said it right. Race management. Like, that's actually exactly what she's just done. She's just literally swam the race, hit the time. Great, I'm in a semi-final. Yeah, that was
I mean,
hard to gauge anything from that.
To put how ridiculous this is, right? The 16 swimmers, the top 16 swimmers heading into the heats to the semi-finals must have known they were safe. Given 16th went a 2:10.8, 17th 2:18.
Oh, really?
So the
wow.
top 16, you knew you were through. Like Laura Stevens could have swam a 2:12, 2:14. She could have
And she'd been
really just taken it steady, and you would have
Yeah.
been through. Albeit steady fly sometimes takes a little bit more out of you because it's not your natural rhythm.
Yeah.
But like Olympic Games, man, that's not great depth.
It's not ideal, and we moan about the women's 200 backstroke for that same reason, actually, and it's the same in the 200 fly. Whether the time is too hard to hit for other swimmers to get into the competition,
Essentially.
but then, of course, then the times are slow and it doesn't look great from that point of view. So yeah, maybe there's just not enough depth across the world in the event just at the moment, but when it gets to the final, then it's great, you know? So it is what it is, I guess.
I think both Brits are capable of making this final. I really hope they do. I think it could be a battle between the two of them, like we saw in the men's 100 backstroke.
Quite possibly.
I think one might hit, one might miss.
Yep, very much so. And I still think you'll have swimmers like Reagan Smith and Summer McIntosh, Zhang Yufei, who will go
Hold
out
back.
quite steady. Like
Yeah.
206s for them is actually quite comfortable, of which 2 of them actually hit 206s in the heats. They'll do that again. Summer will probably go 206 as well. So yeah, if the Brits can go, I think 2.7 is good. 2.7, sub 2.8, I reckon you're all right.
Men's 200 metres backstroke semi-finals, a bit of a gutting one this morning.
Oh, man.
Luke Greenbank gets DQ'd for one of his underwaters, despite being the fastest in the pool off the heats by some way. He went a 1:56.08, looked really, really good. I don't want to dwell on this too much because Luke is one of the nicest guys in swimming. It was really hard to see this happen.
Very hard.
Yeah, we know what he's gone through to get back to the form that he's in for these games. he'll be devastated, and we don't need to draw our own conclusions into it and give our own opinions on it, really, Dan. So
No,
should we move on to the rest of the guys?
It's one of those things that, like, every day in this Olympics, something has just niggled us Brits, and on this occasion, it's Luke, unfortunately. And the reaction was what said it all, didn't it? He was devastated. So yeah, we'll move on, unfortunately.
Ollie through. It took sub 158 to get through. I thought it might be a little bit faster. In our preview, we thought it might be faster. It definitely will take a fast time to make the final, because a lot of these boys are capable of 154s, 155s. Ollie this morning swam a 157.5. Gonna have to get down to his trials time, which was a 156.3. If I remember correct, he might need to get down below 156.
Yeah, it's going to be tough.
This final.
I mean, you say it was slow going from heats to semis, but actually all 16 swimmers were the ones that made it. All the top guys made it through.
Yeah, no one missed.
Yeah, no one missed, exactly. But the difference between semi and final,
it's going to be a lot.
People are going to miss now. So you can't hang around, and Ollie will have to go. He's going to have to go a PB to make this final. He did all right in this 100 back, mind you, very close to his PB, which was then good enough to qualify. But this one is a different story, because you've got someone like Ryan Murphy. I think Chekon will actually do okay as well. Hugo Gonzalez. There's a few names here that are going to be in your 155s, maybe 54s in the semis to qualify now.
Yeah, Ryan Murphy looked easy, very comfortable this morning.
Yeah.
Hubert Koss the same. Yeah, there's some very good backstrokers, and I'm looking forward to previewing this final. All of these heats this morning were a bit odd.
There's just not a lot to... Do you know what I think it is? I think a lot of these swimmers have now eased into the competition.
Yeah.
And
okay.
They know what's expected now. Do you think, okay, well, I know a 157 is good enough, and so they just go, 157, lovely jubbly, I'm qualified. Doesn't matter if I'm in lane 1, as like Chekon demonstrated quite clearly the other day. As long as you get a lane, you can then do what you do in your semi-final, you qualify for the final, and then you never know what happens.
Women's 200 metres breaststroke, that is the other semi-final tonight. Tatiana Smith looked the strongest out of this field.
Yep.
She and Kate Douglas and Tess Houghton, to be fair. Those are probably your three favourites heading in to that. Well, it's not even the final yet. Yeah. Heading through to the semi-finals, they'll be the top seeds, I would have thought, into the final. They're all capable of sub 220. They won't need to swim sub 220 to get to that final.
Nope.
Tatiana Smith just needs to swim the same swim again, and in all likelihood, 221.5 might be the fastest seed.
I suspect so, and I'm basing this off her 100 the other day, where she hit the same time heat, semi, and final. Is this the limit? Is this how fast that she can go? 221.
No.
I actually think there's maybe a second to find, or that she's in reserve, if you like.
Yeah.
Because that looks super smooth, super easy. She looks good. I know it's the semi-finals, but she is going in as favourite, as Olympic champion. But Douglas is also another name who looks extremely comfortable. The gliding is sensational. It was almost like easy speed throughout the whole race. And then you got Mona McSherry as well, Irish contingent swimming again. So, and she's through. And can she make a final? I think she probably could. And then you never know.
What does it take to make this final? Because to make the semi-finals was a 226.5.
Yeah, they're going to have to fasten that.
Yeah, not obviously.
Sub 225 you're in, I think.
Oh, man, I think it's lower than that. I think it's sub 224. If not mid 223.
Oh, wow.
There were 7 of them this morning that was sub 224, and I thought all of them looked fairly comfortable.
Oh, yeah. All right, I've got that wrong then. What did I say? Sub 24?
25, you said.
Oh, okay. Sub 24 is what I actually probably meant to say then.
I think, 223 mid might get you in. We might see a big name or two miss this. We might see Lily King, Sydney Pickram. They didn't look too special this morning, but again, the heats were the heats.
The heats were the heats, exactly, yeah. It will come down to hand position. It will be not based on time. You just do your semi-final, be top 3, you're in. I think it'll be kind of like that.
Yeah, absolutely. And that rounds up day 5 of the Propulsion Swimming Podcast, daily podcast during the Paris Olympic Games. Thank you so much if you've joined us again for another day of discussion between the heats and finals. Tonight is going to be a belter of a final session. 8 races to enjoy. It's going to be quite a long session. Going to enjoy it ourselves. Albeit, like, I know other channels elsewhere are doing like watch-alongs and inviting people in to see their reactions and to then put up videos really quickly. But actually, Dan, this is the most I've enjoyed a swim meet in a long time. Just doing a nice conversation middle of the day and sitting back and taking in the British swims and the worldwide swims. I'm enjoying this meet so far.
It makes a difference compared to the time difference problems we had in Tokyo, where you can
hugely.
actually watch the heats, have a little bit of a chilled day where we can record this and do other video plans later on, and then you go into the final. It's like, it's actually really nice, isn't it, compared to waking up at 2 a.m. in the morning and actually, it's been really good. And actually, I suppose this is the halfway point, really, isn't it? So
I guess it is, yeah. I'm full of
halfway.
beans as well after yesterday's golds.
Yes, yeah. Long may it continue. Hopefully we can get another 1 or 2 medals, hopefully more than that if I'm honest, in the bag.
Yeah. Okay, if you haven't subscribed already, now's the time to do so on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify. Leave us a review over on the 2 audio platforms if you can, and me and Dan will be back in 24 hours.
Yeah, thank you for listening, everyone, and we'll see you on the next one.
You've been listening to the Propulsion Swimming Podcast with Scott and Dan. We want to thank you for joining us and invite you to subscribe to the show, as well as checking out the Propulsion Swimming YouTube channel for weekly tutorials and videos to get your swimming fix. We will be back next week. Until then, we'll catch you on the next one.